It actually really wasn't until my last breakup that was very difficult for me, because I realized now I was using that to get over things that I thought were resolved but maybe weren't. And I just broke and was like, and I almost literally felt God carrying me.
Welcome to the first ever installment of the Prophets to the Prophets podcast, where all things are possible when love is your bottom line. All are welcome here, entrepreneurs, business professionals, tradespeople, stay-at-home moms, dogs, cats, and even goldfish. All right, I'm your host, Steve, and I'm joined by my co-host, business owner, husband, father, and Metallica superfan, Albert Alexander. How you doing, Al?
I'm doing great, Steve. Thanks for inviting me here.
Of course. You're very welcome. And we're also joined by someone else. Al, why don't you tell us who that is?
Ariel Rose Alexander.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Ariel. How you doing?
I'm great. Happy to be here.
Are you really happy to be here?
Not that I have to work with you, but
I was going to
I
say.
get to sit next to my dad, so I'm happy about that.
So Ariel and I go way back.
Like 4 flats on a Cadillac.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? That's awesome. Well, it's great to see you again. And I got to ask you both, do you know what time it is?
11
Hammer
something.
time? Hammer time?
It's time for news headlines. Start off the show, we like to get little stories that we come across that are interesting, something to kind of get our conversation started a little bit. So let us start with our guest. Ariel, what do you have for us?
So I live in Georgia now, and I heard from some of my friends that there's like aliens coming out of the sky or something. So I had to look it up, of course. I'm like, what is going on? There wasn't a meteor that hit on the 26th. Like hit with like 20 tons of TNT type energy. It was crazy. 3 feet diameter, and it was over a ton. NASA just confirmed it. I was like, that's crazy. So
20 tons of TNT?
The energy emitted was equivalent to 20 tons of TNT.
When it hit the ground?
Yeah.
Where did it hit?
I don't know exactly, but it was close enough to the South Carolina border that they had an earthquake.
Whoa.
What?
Yeah. And it's crazy. Like, it just happened a couple of days ago, and I didn't see it anywhere on the news.
Wow.
So.
You know, that is the way society is today. Something like that happens. And people just go on about their day, right? I saw a comedian, he was talking about how over the last few years, people are the news is confirming there are UFOs.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. What are we having for dinner tonight? I remember seeing a television show was called like 1,000 Ways to Die or something. Not to take this in a morbid direction, but this guy was at a pool party and a meteor hit him, like a tiny little, like the size of like a quarter, but it killed him.
Well, because I'm sure because of the force coming out.
That's
of
ridiculous.
Oh, really? Because of the force? I thought it was because of the
gravity.
color. Like,
really, Steve? Are we gonna go down this road?
Yeah, because red meteors are bad and green are good. Yeah, that's what it is.
All right, Al, what do you have for us?
Well, of course, one of my favorite characters in news is Donald Trump.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Okay.
So
you lost half our viewers, but go on.
The big, beautiful bill. They're adding in something that's shocking the energy industry. You know, I'm looking in to put some solar panels on my roof. And I got a good friend who's an electrical an engineer in general. He can just do about anything. He set his whole house up off the grid with batteries and backups and all this amazing stuff he created. The most interesting thing about this news article is that out of all of it, they're bringing back coal. Do you know like how many coal plants have been just demolished and moved away from? I mean, and now they're going to bring back coal for the future? That doesn't make sense to me, right? How do we even deal with this kind of whole, mix up and, balance back and forth of like, where are we going to go? We're going to go electrified, and now we're not going to go. But guess what coal produces?
It produces a lesson for kids who don't behave throughout the year when Christmas comes around.
Exactly.
Santa
Claus. No, they actually make electricity out of coal. So I was excited.
Oh, okay.
But it's most people don't realize that. most people didn't realize that coal is what made most of the power.
So I went for a walk with my wife, and she was pointing out a house with solar panels, and she's like, "Oh, wow, I want solar panels." And I thought, doesn't that just look gaudy? Doesn't it just make your? But she likes it. She likes the look. What do you guys like the look of solar panels on a house?
I like the look of a low-cost energy bill.
When you open the bill and you see like $26.
Yeah.
Is it really a significant difference? I guess it must be, else people wouldn't be putting solar panels on their house.
Well, yeah, it can reduce your bill down to zero. The problem is the cost of putting them up.
Right.
And in researching it, I mean, my house is $60,000 from a normal firm to put some solar panels. And I'm like, I don't want to. I'd have to wait 20 years to get my money back.
Right, okay. Do you recycle?
Not at all.
Not at all?
I live in Georgia. They don't do much of anything.
Yeah.
They don't even. Can't return bottles. That was a shock for me.
Really?
Yeah.
They also have plastic bags when you go to
Yes.
Walmart.
Oh, I have so many plastic bags. I like bathe in them.
And
Just reminiscing.
that's funny to me, because you can go to a supermarket and you buy a pack of bacon, and it's in what?
Plastic.
You get a gallon of milk, and it's in what?
Plastic.
But you get to the counter and you cannot have a
Plastic bag. It honestly, things like that are such an illusion, I believe.
right.
It's crazy. Like the TSA, it's all illusion. It's just to make us feel like we're doing something, and it doesn't actually make a difference.
But that's what we do as people.
Yeah.
We try to do things to make ourselves feel better,
Absolutely.
feel like we're making a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And some, I think, are legitimate and aren't. Okay, that was awesome. Thanks for that headline. And finally, mine is, in bars across America, younger bar goers, those born in the 1990s to the early 2000s, so Gen Z, they are no longer as often opening bar tabs. They are instead choosing to close out and pay after every drink. So the New York Times did this story, and they have one bartender saying that, you have so many things to do as a bartender throughout your shift, and closing out a tab, if you have to do it throughout the evening when somebody's ordering 2-3 drinks, it takes time, and it's frustrating and annoying.
I could see that.
I was surprised to hear that. I mean, it seems very convenient to just give your credit card, debit card over, and then at the end you get your bill and you pay it, and you don't have to close it out each and every time. I did ask a couple of Gen Zs here.
What'd they say?
They said yes.
Really?
Yes. They said sometimes they will open a tab, but otherwise they will pay for a drink, get their card back. Then if they decide to get another one, they'll get another drink. And that same person said, and they're not going to tip them each and every time because, quote, they're just opening a beer.
Really? Wow.
Which I thought was kind of interesting.
That could be a topic in itself, tipping.
Yeah.
Right. But some younger people claim that paying as they go is just a better way to manage their money and their alcohol intake.
I could see that.
And I thought that was actually pretty savvy.
That's very wise, actually.
Right?
Yeah.
And another reason is, can you guys think of another reason of why you wouldn't want to hand over your debit card to have it sit there overnight?
Fraud.
Right? Fraud,
Yeah.
right? Losing it, forgetting it. You're having too many.
I know so many people that have done that.
Right? You have too many
Yeah.
drinks, and
Yeah.
you get home. They wake up the next morning. You go to buy something,
Yeah.
breakfast or whatever. You're like, I don't
It's
have
not
my
there.
card. Where
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Strawberries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strawberries Margarita Grill.
Nice.
You have to go back and get it. Yep. Another reason for the decline could be that that generation is drinking less, and they're literally just going for having a drink. They're not like you were, Al, back in your 20s when.
Yeah, I'm buying the whole bar.
Your
around.
20s, you were totally blacked out.
And then everyone buys you around.
Two, I noticed marijuana is more readily available.
Oh, yeah.
And legally available, and most of the younger generations partake in that versus alcohol.
Oh, really?
That's a good take.
Wow. The reefer? Is that what they call
Yeah,
it?
the reefer.
So a 2023 Gallup poll found that 62% of adults under the age of 35 say they drink, which is a 10% decrease over the past 20 years. And finally, another problem is for the restaurants, when you swipe a card each time, you get a fee.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're losing a little money. In 2024, take a wild guess at how much money was collected in credit card fees. $187 billion.
Oh, my goodness.
Is that
That's
worldwide?
unfathomable.
Worldwide or U.S.? That's got to be worldwide, I think. All right. So new trends, new generations, new attitudes. All of that brings us to our topic of the day, and the topic of the day is new beginnings. From fear to faith to fulfillment. Ariel is here to share her testimony about the journey she's been on. Ariel is a senior human resources director at FoodMate LLC in Ball, Georgia. Did I say that?
Ball Ground, Georgia.
From Ball Ground, Georgia. Never been there. She does life and career coaching for Ignite Consulting, for which she partners with her dad, which you guys didn't know this, but these two here are related. Ariel is Al's daughter.
Favorite daughter.
But that's perhaps her greatest role. And she'll be the first to tell you life hasn't always been easy. Not an easy ride. Lots of life lessons, wins mixed in with setbacks and disappointments, and everyone should be able to relate to the story that she's about to tell, to the aspects of her life and, what she's been through. So, Ariel, welcome.
Thank you.
Al, kick it off.
All right. So, Ariel, you're directing how many people at your work right now?
About 347.
Wow, that's very oddly specific.
Just 'cause I just did a payroll.
About 347.
I did a payroll report 2 minutes before we came in here. So
About 347, but there's one that's going to be released today. So
I don't think you're allowed to say that. Tell us which one. So you deal with a lot of business interactions and human resources. Probably get you involved in a lot of touchy, I guess, interpersonal situations, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So why are you good at that type of thing?
Because I come from a chaotic, trauma-filled life.
Well, there you go.
let's get that. Let's start from there. Tell us about that chaotic, traumatic life of yours.
Yeah.
I'm an abuse survivor, and I look back, and part of me doesn't recognize who I even was back then. And then the other part is just so grateful that God brought me through, and realizing I shouldn't even be here today. So number one, just my faith in God. I've always kind of struggled with that. But I look at it now as it's absolutely a journey. The ups and downs are meant to be there. But all of the things that he's brought me through, it's for a reason, and that's why I'm so passionate about giving back. Whether it's in my daily 9 to 5, I try to nurture the people around me and use my experience to be that much better for them and give back to them, or in the people that I coach as well.
Yeah. So looking back at those years of abuse and everything, and you said you don't recognize the person you were compared to now, but do you see things about those experiences where it's oh, this was valuable in where it has brought me today?
So not just on the abuse front, but my parents were super young when they conceived me, 15, 16, you guys found out. So first of all, you think about that dynamic, people that are born to children that are still children. There's not a lot of life lessons and things that they can give you. You're growing up together. I do feel blessed in the sense that I had parents that at least had the wherewithal to give me discipline that I needed, and not just, let me run crazy. And while we did grow up together, there was a lot that I think I benefited from that, having to grow up a little bit quicker. But I look at that as a blessing. I think it's really benefited me in the long term. So,
and she's a very forgiving person. I have apologized to you a lot in my life.
He's the best dad.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's thoughtful. No, I appreciate that. No, I mean, being a teen parent, Steve, was something that, again, Ariel hit it well. I don't regret any part of my journey of life either. I love it. Ariel was a blessing at that time, saved my life. We can maybe talk about that at another time in a different
That's
podcast.
Why I'm the favorite.
That's why Ariel's the favorite, is what she says. I don't know if that's true. But to continue, I mean, so from this point of where your, foundation is, right? What was a turning point for you?
Well, I think now looking back, I realized even though, you guys as my parents did the best that you could with what you had, it's, like with anyone, it leaves gaps, leaves you wanting for things and needing certain things. So I was kind of a perfectionist and really sat on a high horse, I think, because you pushed me so hard to do the best that I could and not use my downfalls or shortcomings, so to speak, in life as an excuse, which I thank you for, because that's one of the best lessons. Like, no excuses, push through. But I took it to such an extreme because I learned later I'm a very black and white thinker. I took it to such an extreme that it was like touching every part of my life. And it was almost, I was very unrelentingly unforgiving of everything and anyone around me. So I tried to build this cookie cutter life, which in turn allowed me to fall for someone that put on a mask. And it seemed like everything was so perfect up front. And that was exactly what I needed to fulfill this piece of my life that I felt like was missing. And unfortunately, it turned out to be a facade. Mm-hmm. And, that really, it was a dark time in my life. But like, I remember, there's certain things that you remember very vividly, but thankfully it's almost like a wash over now. It's like, who was that person? Mm.
So anybody watching this is kind of going through what you were going through. You didn't get into specifics, but people, I think, anybody that's watching this is going through situations of abuse or self-doubt or whatever. Something got you through those very critical years, and now you can impart advice, right?
I think, now I look back and it was absolutely God. In the moment, I was almost ashamed to turn to God because it's like, how could I let myself get here? Like, he's got other things to worry about because I brought this on myself. So I kind of struggled within that, but he was there the whole time. I can look back now and see that. Like, there were absolutely moments that, like, I should have been dead. Mm-hmm. And I'm here. So I used my own work ethic and my own, like, grit. Like, I want to be successful to prove everyone wrong, kind of thing. Especially this person wrong, and, like, make something of myself. And that was my meter for success was, can I be better than this person or these people that have abused me? Mm-hmm. And now where I'm at, it's like I hit actually what caused the major change. Getting out of that, I realized, so you go through a divorce and you think everything's going to be great because the divorce happened. And 6 months went by and I'm like, I'm still just as miserable as I was. So I'm very self-reflective. So I really kind of self-therapize often. So I'm like sitting down, just journaling, like thinking like, what can I do to change this? So I was like, wow, I really had to self-reflect on, yes, he was a huge part of the problem, but I was just as much because I was giving into this mindset and this lifestyle. So I began to like write lists. I was like, write a list of everything that I'm insecure about myself. And I look in the mirror and either I am going to change it or I'm going to, excuse my French, but this is shut the F up about it. Stop complaining, embrace it. And then I wrote a list of everything I ever wanted to do in life that I felt like I was being held back by someone else. And then I wrote a list of who I wanted to be as a person, the type of man that I wanted in my life, and the type of woman that would attract that kind of man. Yeah. So I began focusing and hyper-focusing on those lists and becoming the person that I wanted to be. Again, God was kind of like in the background, just a thought here and there, but really it was just I wanted to be this person. So I just worked on that, began traveling by myself. It almost gave me like a fearless persona. I realized I started walking into rooms and my confidence would fill up the room and people would tell me that. And so I could see the transformation outwardly. So it just kept driving me more and more, which bled over into my career as well.
So just so there's no mystery to anybody listening, the problem was what?
I was married to an abusive man.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
So.
And when did God show up? You said he was in the background. When did he become in the foreground? Mm-hmm.
It actually really wasn't until my last breakup that was very difficult for me, because I realized now I was using that to get over things that I thought were resolved but maybe weren't. And I just broke and was like, and I almost literally felt God carrying me. And there was nothing that could have gotten me through. Like, I was in bed for months and like a mess. And then God was there in my brokenness. And then looking back, I'm like, all the times that he was there through the divorce. Because like I said, through that whole process, I never leaned on God consciously once. And I see that he was there.
So now you gained a lot of ammunition for, the path that you were now on. And unless I'm jumping ahead, why don't you tell us like how that ammunition has fortified you now in your career?
So I put a lot of my worth in my career, because everything in my home life was kind of, not a mess, but like it was built on, unsolid ground, so to speak, kind of stuff. So my career was my focus. I kind of moved through with a company, like startup, like helped build things up and like got to a certain point there. But that was my whole life. That was the one thing that like I really was like, I have this to be proud of, kind of thing. I remember talking to my dad about that kind of thing. And sometimes he would tell me like, you put a lot of like onus on your part in this company. And like, don't do that. You're not an owner. Like, you're not, like this isn't your identity. Like he kind of saw that I was doing that. Relationship ties severed with that company. And I that's one of the points I look back and I see God. That was my God. My job there was my God. God was saying, no more of this. I'm your God and I'm going to show you. So he shakes things up sometimes. And I just spontaneously, I was like, you know what? Moving out of here, getting out of here, moving to Georgia. You can't be down south and like turn a corner without seeing a church. Even I would say the most paganistic people in the South are more biblical than the people in the North, So
that's funny.
Yeah,
That's funny.
It's everywhere.
I'm kind of reminded of a verse as you were talking, which is in Proverbs. In their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. And so many of these plans are in your heart. It's coming into light for me, as you said, that really God has to be the center of your life and not necessarily a career path.
Yeah.
So what has the Lord brought you into now that you would say he's the center rather than your career?
Yeah, so now, rather than focusing on driving my career, I focus on my relationship with God. Even when it's bad, even when it's like, there's days I can't face him. But then I remember like, that's the enemy telling me, lies. So me focusing on God and how to serve people through him, what some people can't even do in 10 years has happened in 8 months. If you let him use you, he is going to use you.
I like the way you said that you walk into rooms now and people see your confidence. And that's not something that just you snap your fingers and have overnight. But the more confidence you have to have the foundation of Christ in your life.
Yeah.
You maintain an attitude that it's through him that you can do all things, right?
Yeah.
You can exude confidence. People will pick up on that. They will gravitate towards you. They gravitate towards people who are positive, who have a good attitude about life, who have a good outlook, who serve others, that don't serve themselves. And you've moved up very quickly in your company.
Yeah.
It's confidence with humility.
Yeah.
You're a confident person, but you have a lot of humility.
You're talking to me, Steve?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes. So
thank you so much.
why don't you point out? Why don't you kind of take that? Like, how important is that in your as a business leader, as a leader at home?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, sums it up seriously. Like yesterday, I got to officiate my first wedding. Somebody asked me to be
You
an officiant.
officiated a wedding?
I know. Crazy, right? Me.
What, don't you have to be licensed to do that?
I got licensed
Get out of town.
for $35 online
Are you serious?
with the American Marriage Ministries. Please don't plug that officially.
Oh my God. When did you do this?
Well, yesterday. Well, I mean, I got that certificate a month ago,
Okay.
but I officiated yesterday.
That is so cool.
What I was going to say is a young man who was in the wedding comes up to me and asks, like, how are you so confident just speaking in front of people? I know
Right.
this is your first wedding. Like,
Yeah.
how? I didn't always have that. And the guy said, well, when did it start? I said, well, when I came to Christ in my mid-20s,
Mm-hmm.
I had to, like Ariel sounds very similar in this journey. I had to transfer my trust and confidence into him and not in myself.
Right.
Right. And that journey itself is, you know, it's a very difficult journey, and it takes faith and almost a grit, would somebody say, to put that in there, but it's not in your own power. So I don't have to show up in a room or be in front of people or lead however many people are in our company on my own power anymore. So, you know what I mean? That itself allows me to show up, and I know that he'll give me something to say to glorify him. And so my focus, whenever I show up in a room or to a meeting, or if it's in front of 100 people or one person, I know that I'm there because God gave me that purpose, that moment to be there.
I will literally walk into a room with a CEO, CFO, see whatever, and I tell them what they need to hear. No one it's almost like no one does that, because it's like you do that and their faces light up, and then you quickly become their go-to. I've done this in many companies, so it's not just one, and they love it. I think people like that are surrounded by yes men so much. But again, my faith in Christ being you're going to be truthful and you're going to be helpful and not just, being a brown noser. I
don't
go
know if
in.
we can say that. Can you strike that from the record? Say a different analogy.
An ass kisser?
No,
Is that better?
That's more appropriate than brown noser. So yes.
Brown noser was the appropriate version.
No, that's like 40 years old. You can't say that anymore. It's actually in the dictionary of things not to say.
Okay. Instead of being a suck up.
Suck up?
Yeah.
That's bad.
No,
You
go ahead.
cannot do
Sorry,
suck up.
continue.
You go to these people who a lot of people are intimidated by, and I think in the Bible it talks about you respect God. You're supposed to respect your authority, but biblically that trumps everything. So I don't ever look, and I think you always taught me that too, Dad, like, the CEO and the janitor are the same. You treat everyone the same. And my goal is I never want to talk to someone or go into a room without leaving an impression that it's better for having me in that room, that they haven't, at least seen the light of Christ. Think of where you can be helpful instead of what can I get out of this? That's the main thing. Like every company I talk to or like go into, I think regardless of what I get out of this, how can I leave them better than when I was before I was here? And it makes a huge difference.
And they'll recognize it. And if
Absolutely.
they don't recognize it, you're in the wrong place. Right?
And that's exactly why I've moved on to certain things in other areas. And and it's almost like God gives that back to you. It's like, well, you weren't recognized here, but I'm going to level you up here.
Okay, it's time now for our 3 takeaways. Ariel, you had said the word grit. You have to have grit. You have to go into everything with a little grit. Because if you want to rise above the things that we are facing, it's going to take some effort. And it's going to take an attitude of, I'm going to do this no matter what it takes. You got to have grit.
I kind of shared it earlier, but it's God's word that was kind of revealed to me while you were talking about the many plans of men, right? The many plans of men and women but the Lord establishes our steps. I think you made me think of that in that way, and that's what I'm going to take away from it. And, it'll help me today, hopefully. I'll probably do it wrong because that's just how we are.
Yep.
But
true.
Thank you for encouraging us.
And what is your takeaway from your own little time here?
Just because we have faith doesn't mean we're perfected. I think as Christians, there are so many, and I struggle with this. There's so many times that I think to myself, it's easy to think like I'm above or, you know, but really I'm only a Christian because I'm broken. Like you can't be perfect and be a Christian. You just can't. It's, you know, so the more I show that brokenness to other people, like I think of that now as a gift. He gave that to me to attract people that need the help and they might not have that connection to God yet. So I have to kind of, we as a calling need to be that extension.
Good stuff. All right. And finally, it's time for something fun.
All right.
Fun
Finally.
stuff.
Finally, something fun.
Ending the podcast, each of our episodes will end with something fun, and I've got something that I heard over the weekend, and I like it. You guys like riddles?
Yeah.
No.
I hate them. I really hate this one especially.
Oh, goodness.
Because when you find out what the answer is, you will want to punch me.
I like that.
Okay? Yeah, we're going to end every episode with something that hopefully brings a smile to your face. If you need a little pick-me-up, here it is. What do you sleep on at night, sit in to watch TV, and brush your teeth with in the morning?
Sleep on at night, sit in to watch TV, and brush your teeth with in the morning?
Yep.
I don't know. I can't even think. That
No?
way. No.
Okay. The answer is, what do you sleep on at night? A bed, sit in to watch TV, a chair, and brush your teeth with toothbrush.
I don't. You're fired.
That's a horrible. You've tricked us. We're done.
That's it for the first ever episode of Prophets to the Prophets podcast. Thanks, Ariel, very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We'd love to connect with you guys who saw this, so please join the discussion below with a comment. Of course, you got to subscribe to this channel. And for crying out loud, please just hit that little like button. Is it really that hard? You can do that at the very least, right? Remember, what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his soul?